This week on At Your Leisure, Gina and I are joining the Tri-State ATV Club as they take us out for a great adventure at Studhorse Draw.
Then we're showing off an amazing trail that for years was only available to full-size vehicles, but just recently has become available to street-legal OHVs, and we've got the inside scoop.
And finally, Reese Stein is showing off a wide variety of fish in Utah Lake, but unfortunately, one of them doesn't belong. He's going to show you what DWR is doing about it. Reel in your chair. At Your Leisure is next. You know, it seems like everywhere we go in Utah, we find those petroglyphs, and this is no exception. Hello, everybody. Welcome to At Your Leisure. I'm Kevin Mortensen.
And I'm Gina Mortensen.
And look, we brought Hannah with us today, and we are just outside of Enterprise,
which I've never been to, and I've mistakenly called it other names.
But we are on a guided ride with the Tri-State ATV Club today, and we're being led by the mayor of Enterprise, Buck Humphreys.
Yes.
Who grew up in this area. He's a rancher, and so he knows this area like the back of his hand. So we've stopped here today at Nephi Springs to check out these petroglyphs, and we're having a great time. Aren't you having fun?
Yeah.
She's missing school. She's going to have a great day.
Well, what I hear is that today we're going to see a lot of really cool things. Everything from the rocks in the springs up to ponderosa pines.
I can't wait to see the ponderosa pines. That's called Pine Park. I think that's where we're headed.
Pine Park, and we're going to head there today. You know what? Let's get out and check out what's going on the ride today. We're going to bring you a great show. Stay tuned.
This area is one of the rides that we include in the Tri-State ATV Jamboree. It's called Studhorse Draw, and we come from Hurricane and we unload up above Enterprise. It's about a 40-mile loop.
This route is on the forest rather than on BLM route. We have 5 permitted rides on the forest. They are higher and it is colder, and it is rides that most likely people that have been on the Jamboree several times have not taken before. We like to keep adding and subtracting and changing our rides so that we have reasons and purposes for people to come back to our Jamboree every year.
Great. The weather's been beautiful down here. We've seen great looking country. We've been in the willows, we've been in the sagebrush, and now we're in these big, beautiful ponderosa pine trees. My best part of the ride's right here. These white rocks and then these big pines. It's not something you normally see down here in southern Utah.
Down in Nephi, you know that Nephi Spring. I've been going there my whole life with the cattle and things. I just grew up here in this area. You know, herding cattle from most all these places we've been. It's where I gather and move cattle all year long.
As a kid, this was kind of our backyard, so to speak. My wife is actually from Enterprise, so I've spent a little bit of time here in Pine Park. Beautiful scenery. You kind of go from one extreme to the next in about a half a mile to a mile. You go from a desert landscape into almost an upper mountain landscape within a short period. It's a beautiful place for people to come. We invite people to come and respect our country and to enjoy it the same way that we do.
One of the good things about this area is it's pretty remote. You know, we haven't seen anybody else out here today, so it's pretty remote. We've seen a lot of different things. We've seen pinyon and junipers. We saw some petroglyphs. There's a lot of geology out here if you like to look at that kind of stuff.
This has been a beautiful ride. The weather's perfect. It's just been great. A little dusty, but the things you get to see out here, we saw some petroglyphs and the rocks out here. I'm not even sure what they call them. These white rocks are just very interesting. So it's a great ride to be on.
having a great time out here with the Tri-State ATV Club. They're great hosts. And our guide today, well, our driver, Brad Carey, has done a remarkable job. Brad, look what you did.
Put our teenager to sleep.
She is asleep.
She did not miss school to sleep all day.
No, we need to wake her up and we're going to go see some more. We're going to send you guys off to this week's Where To.
No trip to southern Utah is complete without stopping somewhere along Lake Powell. The area isn't just a haven for boaters, however. The surrounding regions have a wealth of off-road trails and dirt roads to explore when you're done playing in the water. There is an immeasurable amount of land to ride through, with something spectacular waiting around just about every corner. And the best way to start off a journey like this is to start in Poison Springs.
It is like being in Lake Powell, but you're not on a boat. As you look around, you see the vistas, the same thing you would at Lake Powell. Although I've never seen snow on the vistas at Lake Powell. So we've seen snow this morning. We've seen just huge. I mean, this is huge country.
The sights you see, these canyon bluffs, these rocks, I mean, the canyons are amazing. The guy that put all this together really knew what he was doing.
If the views alone aren't enough for you, Poison Springs houses relics of ancient history and even some artifacts more recent than that.
Knowing that there's Butch Cassidy's signature and knowing that there's old Indian dwellings, that makes it even more exciting, and I can't wait to see those.
There's even something for those of you who are missing the water of Lake Powell if you get there at the right time of the year.
For the drop down to the Dirty Devil River was quite the adventure. We were driving through some waterways and that always kind of livens things up. We did cross the Dirty Devil River. It was running a little high, so that was kind of an adventure to do a big river crossing and a side-by-side, but everybody made it through just fine.
It's never been a better time to visit Poison Springs than now, especially if you're on a street-legal ATV or side-by-side. Glen Canyon National Recreation Area recently amended its travel plan to allow street-legal OHVs to drive on roads where full-size vehicles were only previously allowed. What only existed as an out-and-back adventure can now be turned into a loop or even a week-long expedition.
With this 8-mile section that's open up on Sunset Pass, what it does is it opens up hundreds of miles. You could actually go from here and actually you could start in Moab, go to Blanding to Height through Poison Springs up to the Henrys, and then you could turn south and go all the way to Tickaboo, or you could turn north and go all the way to Hanksville. And so with this 8-mile section, we can now do that, where before it was like an 8-mile dead end. There was no connection.
Enjoying Poison Springs and beyond is easier than ever. Just make sure you practice a responsible ethic when exploring this newly opened section.
This did take 10 years. It took a lot of effort to get decision makers to get on board with it. There are already legal challenges to this, and so that means it's going to be scrutinized heavily. I think everybody should come out here and see it. It's beautiful country. The adventure of getting here is phenomenal. But when you come, please stay on the trail. Follow the rules, follow the signs. We have volunteers and activists out here posting the signs right now, so there's no excuse to do anything other than come here and stay on the trail and recreate responsibly and enjoy this beautiful area.
The wide expanse of off-road accessibility in the Lake Powell area has been vastly improved through Poison Springs and beyond. So help it stay that way. Make your voice heard by getting out there and enjoying it to the fullest. For At Your Leisure and this week's Where To, I'm Nick Chase.
Listen, you don't want to miss that Where To destination. It looks like a lot of fun. I think we need to go check it out too.
Sounds good, but we're gonna go to break, and after we go to break, you guys are gonna check out what's new, and then we're gonna go check out the town of Enterprise.
Let's go.
Hey, honey, have you seen this tire? Do you think we'll make it?
Not on that thing.
Don't let bad tires ruin your trip. With service stations at every location along I-15, we can get you back on the road with fast, friendly, professional service. Eagles Landing has everything you need along the way. Even the things you didn't know you'd need. Get ready for the road at Eagles Landing.
Make Marysvale your hub for adventure. Nestled in the Tusher Mountains with direct access to the Paiute Trail. Explore history from Miners Park to Butch Cassidy's cabin, while blazing trails from mountain peaks to the shores of Otter Creek.
Welcome back to At Your Leisure. I'm Kurt with Slick Rock Productions, and we're going to talk about tires for a minute today. Tires are one of the questions that we get the most of. Everybody wears out their factory tires on their UTVs, and so they're wondering what is the best tire for them to get, the best aftermarket tire to get, and it's kind of a loaded question. A lot of that depends on where you ride, what kind of riding you do. This is a factory tire here that comes off of a Razor. It's a 29-inch tire. It's a Bighorn. They're a pretty good tire. They're a soft rubber compound, but they do puncture easy and they do wear out pretty quick. So there's a lot of options out there in the aftermarket world. Come walk with me and I'll show you a few. This is an MRT tire. This is one of my favorite all-around tires. It has a really good rubber compound. The tread pattern in it isn't really aggressive, so it's good in the snow, but it's good on the road. It rolls true. You don't have to balance these tires. That's one of my favorite on-highway running tires. They're great in the rocks as well, and I really like that. This is Super ATV's Warrior tire. That's one of my favorite rock tires. It's a soft rubber compound, but it's not real great on the street. So if you're gonna do a lot of asphalt riding, that's probably not the choice you wanna go to. But in the mud and in the snow and on the rocks, a really phenomenal tire. So this is a Maxxis tire. This is the Rockzilla. This is one of my favorite rock crawling tires out there. It's a really soft rubber compound tire, and so it really grabs the rocks well. It does very well in the mud, but if you're gonna run that tire on asphalt, it's gonna wear out prematurely because of the soft rubber compound. So when you're picking a tire out, rubber compound is really important. If you spend a lot of time on asphalt, on hard packed trails, a harder rubber compound tire will last you a lot longer. A softer rubber compound tire will get you better traction, but it won't last as long. Another thing that you need to think about when you're buying a tire is whether it's a flat top tire or a round top tire. A flat top tire has the most surface area when it's on the asphalt. It's harder to steer, it's harder on your components, it wears out parts prematurely, where a round top tire is a lot easier, but you don't get the same traction out of it either as well, so it's kind of the trade-off deal with it. But for us, we run a lot of big tires, so I like a round top tire because it is a lot of rolling mass out there. So for an all-around tire, this is probably my favorite tire right here. This is an MRT, it's an X-Rocks tire. They're pretty lightweight, so they're not hard on your components. It's not as much rolling mass, but they have two rubber compounds in this. They have a soft and they have a medium. And the medium grabs the rocks really well. They do very well in the mud, very well in the snow, but they have great highway manners. Because they're a round top tire, it's easy on your steering components. If I had to pick one tire that was probably my go-to right now, that's probably the tire I would choose. So there's a lot of different tire choices out there. There's a lot of companies that are out in the marketplace right now. Rubber compound, tire size, tire weight, everything kind of comes into play. So it's really kind of hard to pick the perfect all-around tire. So a lot of that's based off of your riding style, the kind of machine that you have. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit us up on our Facebook page. It's Slick Rock Productions. We try to answer every question within 24 hours, and we'll be right back with At Your Leisure.
Tickaboo stands alone in the desert, an oasis to those who seek adventure. Ride straight from the parking lot to the open desert. When I say open, I mean wide open. Visit outsiders.zone for 360-degree trail tours or tickaboo.com to book your next adventure.
Safety tips with Steve.
Today we want to talk about how to safely load and unload your ATV out of the back of a pickup truck. First thing you want to do is get your ramps anchored to the pickup truck. Make sure the ramp is safely secured. Put your helmet on and steady on the throttle as you load into the back.
Safety tips with Steve.
At Stedman's Recreation, trucks are arriving daily with back-ordered side-by-sides, ATVs, and dirt bikes. Let Stedman's Recreation help get you outside so you can explore and create memories to last a lifetime. Call or stop by Stedman's to hold your side-by-side, ATV, or dirt bike with a small deposit. Yamaha, Honda, Polaris, and Beta. Plus, Stedman's has a full service department and Honda power equipment.
Stedman's Recreation in Tooele. You may think it's 300 miles out here, but remember, it's only 30 miles back.
Coming down into the little valley and stuff, you can look over the whole thing. For me, I can just feel the stress just kind of melt away. There's so many trails to go up on and explore. The desert, and then you've got the lake, you got the mountains. It's just a little bit of everything. It's a little piece of paradise out here. Pretty much anybody that I brought up here, they will ask, can we come back?
Welcome back to At Your Leisure. You know what? You can always tell the quality of a town by the quality of its infrastructure and the quality of life it provides its citizens. We're here at a new park that Enterprise is very proud of, and they should be proud of it. This is a phenomenal park. It has everything from a community center that looks like you can rent with a kitchen to a climbing wall. And look, the girls are on a swing, and really everything that you need for your family. Enterprise, you've got a beautiful town. You got some great stuff here. Let's go hear what your mayor has to say about it.
Enterprise is kind of the last place that you can stop and get gas, to get a drink, to get something to eat before you come to this area. And once you get here, you want to be prepared for that because you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. There's no place else to go from here. We do have a small hotel that's there. It's called Lee Station. That's right there on the outside of town. We do have a couple of gas stations in town. We have a hardware store. We have a Family Dollar. We have a small medical clinic there that has a PA. And we do have a small grocery store that has most of the necessities that you need. So if you need it and it's essential, you can find it there for the most part. There's a historic part there that has some mining artifacts and stuff of the history of Enterprise. Originally, the history of this area being settled obviously started there in Old Hebron. That was the main stage stop, and then Terry's Ranch was the next stage stop on its way to Tamaka and Pioche, Nevada. The history that's there at Terry's Ranch is pretty incredible. That's as well preserved as it is. It still feels like you could see a stagecoach pulling out of the old stagecoach barn, and it gives you kind of that feel. You very limited cell service when you get to those locations, and very little urbanization. Kind of gives you the feel like you're going back into the Old West at that point. We like it. It's a part of the area that not very many of those places exist anymore.
You know, when we go to a town, we always ask the locals, where's the best places to hang out? Where's the best places to eat? And a few people told us to try the cafe right on Main Street. And you know, it's not disappointing. I'm looking at your steak.
I want to cut into it right now. Can I just?
There's a lot of cattle ranches around here, and I guess that is local beef.
Oh yeah.
That thing looks pretty amazing.
Cut over at Carter's Market.
Carter's Market.
Specifically for this restaurant, the cafe, you guys.
So look.
I'm gonna stop talking and please continue.
Yeah, when you come to Enterprise, and do yourself a favor and do them a favor and stop and grab something to eat.
You go ahead and talk, and I'm gonna eat.
We're gonna eat. You guys go check out this week's Along the Way.
I'm Reese Stein at your leisure at Utah Lake, where a voracious, toothy monster is threatening the fisheries here. But the wildlife guys think they have an answer, and it involves minor surgery. These northern pike started showing up in Utah Lake about 10 years ago. The wildlife guys aren't happy.
So northern pike are in Utah Lake as a result of an illegal introduction, which is unfortunate on many levels.
Somebody thought it was a good idea to move pike from Yuba Lake to Utah Lake. But biologist Dale Fonten says the alien pike bring many problems, mainly a mouthful of teeth and a healthy appetite.
biologically, we're concerned because there's an endemic native fish here called the June sucker, which has been recovering rapidly.
Found only here in Utah Lake, the June sucker was near extinction just 30 years ago, but an aggressive recovery program resulted in the fish being upgraded from endangered to threatened in December.
Northern pike are unfortunately threatening that progress.
You don't want the northern pike to gobble up the suckers.
Correct.
Each spring, Fontaine and his crew set nets to trap fish to see just how well they're doing. Getting the fish out of the nets can be a bit tedious.
That's not the fun part. You know, it can take a while, especially the white bass and the carp. they can take a bit.
This year, they're seeing an explosion of pike, both in numbers and size. Left unchecked, pike can grow to 4 feet long or more, like this monster pulled from Yuba Lake in Juab County. This spring, they netted, then released what would have been the largest pike ever caught in Utah.
We're also concerned from a sport fish perspective. Utah Lake is a very popular sport fishery for walleye, white bass, and channel catfish. And some of the research has shown about 80% of their diet is white bass and walleye. So we're concerned from that perspective too.
Utah Lake also features largemouth bass, some pretty nice. Also black crappie and bluegill.
Largemouth bass, crappie, bluegill, everything.
Get a variety, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
You don't know what you're gonna pull out of this lake.
Sean Evans is using a scalpel to help solve Utah Lake's pike problem.
Did you have to go to med school to learn how to do that?
No.
And
lots of practice though.
Sean makes a shallow cut in the pike's belly and inserts a tiny radio transmitter tag. Dale Fontaine will track the pike's travels throughout the lake, maybe discover areas where the fish gather together to spawn, then move in to take them out.
Does that hurt the fish?
A little bit, but it should be very clean cut and heal well.
The tag fish are then stitched up and returned to the lake, maybe to eventually lead to their demise, but in the long term, make Utah Lake even healthier. Reese Stein at your leisure, along the way at Utah Lake.
Dear Diary, we went camping for our vacation on Tusher Lake. We did so many fun things. I learned something on this trip. Camping on Tusher Lake is way more fun than any old mouse in an amusement park.
System overload. Seek nature. Seek adventure. Paiute County, the perfect place to unplug. OHV is the only way. See for yourself at outsiders.zone.
Where in the world is Joseph? Oh, you know, it's the place that has the best burgers in Sevier County. A campground where you can ride straight to the Paiute Trail from town. OHV access to Fremont State Indian Park. Are you serious? You've never stopped in Joseph? You are missing out.
The Old West is still alive in Juab County. Stories of the past are hidden in the desert mountains. From relics of mining history to places of outlaw mystery, tall tales to be discovered, and buried treasure to be uncovered. Juab, the key county of Utah.
Well, welcome back to At Your Leisure. We've had a super fun day today riding out here in southwestern Utah. and seeing some sights, some stuff that we haven't seen before. And we're here right now with the mayor of Enterprise, Buck Humphreys. Buck, tell us about the area. Tell us about the trail that we went on. Give us just a little bit. If somebody wants to come here, what do they need to know?
So from Cedar City, you can turn west on Highway 56. It's about 45 miles to Enterprise. And if you're in St. George, you can turn north on Highway 18 and go about 45 miles north on U18. It will bring you to Enterprise. Follow the signs. You can't get lost on either one of those two roads. Once you get to Enterprise, you turn west on the only oiled road that leads to this location. There's no turns off of it, so you can't get lost. Just follow the oiled road. I don't even know how many miles it is. It's about 15 miles or so west of Enterprise, and we're here at Terry's Ranch.
You get to Terry's Ranch. Now, we're parked right next to the old stagecoach stop, right?
That's correct.
And a lot of history. Go check it out and come out here. You know, the one thing I can tell you, if you want to come out here and try this, any machine's going to do it. It's an easy ride with a lot of history and a lot of good, beautiful scenery you've seen on the show today. Now, you have a beautiful town. Thanks for showing us around. And you know, when you come to these small towns, remember to stop in town, buy something, get your gas, and support the locals so that they can support you as you're out here riding around on the trails. Now, we're going to go see more of this great stuff you have around this area, and we're going to send our viewers off to look at next week's show.
Next week, Chad and Rhea are venturing out to Nevada as they visit Adrenaline Mountain, which is an extreme entertainment complex, including off-roading, shooting, and you can even drive a monster truck.
Then, we're heading out to 9 Mile Canyon with the Lone Peak 4x4 Club as our tour guide, Ben Mead, shows us the 9 Mile Ranch and all of the area's hidden secrets.
Finally, Reese Stein is talking about the invasive and destructive quagga mussel.
That's right, and he's meeting up with the Division of Wildlife Resources to discuss a new strategy to prevent the spread.
Next week's show looks great.
It does. You're not going to want to miss it. And listen, we've had a great ride out here today. I want to thank a few people. First, I want to thank Brad Carey for taking us for a ride on that great machine and for being such a great host with us today. We also want to thank the Tri-State ATV Club. Listen, I want to put a plug in for them. If you want to get into ATVing or you want to be a part of the sport, you really need to join a club. And if you're anywhere near St. George in the southwestern part of the state, call them up, join the club. They go on club rides, and if you want to see this ride that we've done today, you want to go on it, it's a part of their jamboree. When do they hold that?
Next year in March.
In March. It's also going to be uploaded onto our website, www.outsiders.zone, and you can ride it virtually and see the GPS tracks and come and enjoy it yourself. Enterprise, what a great place.
Wonderful town.
It's a great town. The people here are friendly. They want you to come, but remember to take care of things when you come. Shop when you get here, and you know, don't do donuts in the parking lot. Pick up your track.
Just eat donuts. Don't do donuts.
And remember, when you're out checking out Utah, there's adventure around every bend.
You just have to get out there and create it yourself.
At your leisure.